game, there's a lot of potential burst, and it's pretty easy for Syndra to land a stun in that context.
Yeah, it's certainly the case, which is maybe why he could go potentially an Emax or something along those lines and just rely more on the kind of hill of arrows there to land a lot of the poke. You can see TSM is doing double Comet, G2 going double Airy here. So looking more for kind of that consistent damage compared to what TSM is reaching for. The Karma Q slow is pretty impactful, so that will likely help you get that Comet off more often than not. But G2 going to be able to proc Airy much more frequently and try to weave in those autos to try to get that down. But you can see them already positioning super far up. Going to be looking to just have wave control, shoving this in, landing a couple of spells already.
And the Hail of Arrows for Sven does a little bit of work, but it just honestly just cannot match Karma's early levels of wave clear. The Mantra, the Soul Flare coming off the Q there is just nigh impossible to compete with, and it's a difficult spot if they want to put money into Sven's pockets, because Smoothie is actually the best option they have for clearing these creeps out.
Yeah, definitely the case. I mean, Smoothie uses Mantra before the creeps even spawn, just trying to poke into that bush that they thought they might be in, and a lot of poke landed there on Perks. Going to be popping his first charge of the Corrupting Potion, but yeah, I mean, Mickey is actually using a lot of his Qs just on the wave, right? He uses his Mantra Q just on the range minions to try to actually just shove in that wave. It is pretty hard to CS under turret when you have these double range champions trying to poke you and trying to harass you, so they're kind of counting on the fact that TSM will likely be missing a lot of these minions under the turret.
Absolutely, and once again, we're put in a position where we can see one team starting to build a CS advantage, and that will inevitably force the other team to try and find the all-in. Of course, Varsalt is super impactful in this game. If he's allowed to sustain auto attack, he can get the Blight passive off. He has the potential to do a lot of damage. Downside is his mana cost is quite high, so can't really sustain the poke as much as the Karma or necessarily the Syndra can.
Yeah, but I mean, thus far, they're treating poke pretty well. Perks has actually used 2 charges of his Corrupting Potion. So has Mickey X, so the additional one sitting there for Sven. A potion still around here for Smoothie, so TSM is actually doing quite well on the poke, and you hit that E, you guarantee the Comet onto Perks, and Perks is getting pushed around a decent bit by that poke. He's out of the Corrupting Potion charges, and they don't have the wave in a spot where TSM is going to get kind of too punished by a recall, so Perks is going to have to stay around for now, but Smoothie does take the worst end of that trade with Mickey.
Absolutely. But we can see this is already a much closer game than we've seen in the past few, in the sense that one team hasn't just rocketed off to such a dominant start that it feels like CS is the easy out and we're waiting to see if they handshake on all inning towards the end. Instead, we have a much closer game.
Yeah, TSM up, a couple minions, but there's more for G2 to get. So G2 likely, if they get all these, will be ahead.
Damage down on the Sven. Soul Flare fires back, though, and in the end, I mean, just trading once again these healing resources.
And they do have the additional biscuit on the side of TSM, right? So both those guys are sitting on this. You can see Perks is actually going to get pushed back to base here. Doesn't want to just have to use that heal defensively. So TSM should get the better recall. Should be able to actually shove this in. We'll see how much of this farm Mickey does grab. But Sven already heading back to base. Smoothie staying around just to steal away the health pack and make sure that there's no potential freeze from Mickey. And he will look for the reset now as well. It's a little bit scary if you're Mickey to try to go over there, A, because you're missing farm, and B, because if they're kind of setting a trap, you could actually take too much damage. So double longsword and boots here for Sven. His ability to actually dodge out from some of these skill shots and also kind of chase down if you are in the advantage. And also, a fair bit of AD going to be helping with this kind of poke style build that he is playing.
Yeah, getting that first bit of lethality, if that's what he does want to go for, will be a big game changer. Not really a lot of defensive options on either side. And you can see that the CS is nearly dead even. TSM will approach the wave a little bit late, but we'll be able to balance it out right here.
Yeah, it's actually pretty much almost exactly even if they do actually farm out all of these minions on both sides. G2 did miss a little bit as they were pushed back to base earlier, so good shields, honestly, so far from Smoothie. He's been pretty on point with actually blocking a lot of that poke, and because Mickey and Perks are playing more on opposite sides of the map, it's been harder for Mickey to kind of have that well-timed shield to protect Perks from some of the poke coming in from Sven.
But now Mickey stepping forwards, TSM using a lot of those cooldowns, Varsalt with a piercing arrow in that exchange. That means that they do have to back off the wave. We'll see it coming through there, and so a small CS advantage built up for G2, but at the end of the day, TSM feels like we'll still be able to take the lead when this wave does crash.
Yeah, they should be able to pick up most of this. It just really depends how they do in the farm. And some of that is certainly getting missed You can see a lot of these minions are getting softened up as well, so they actually missed quite a bit. And as a result, G2 ahead.
Ignite coming through. Mantra Q is not going to connect. That Soul Flare will miss, and Smoothie now on the chase. Perks, of course, incredibly low on mana as using that last Corrupting Potion stacks. That's stepping forward, but they don't really have any follow-up here.
Yeah, and they were kind of chasing past, seeing if they could get anything more, but as a result, they're going to lose some of those minions. Both summoners are gone off of Mickey as well as Smoothie. Very close game thus far. It looks like TSM are trying to now push in and reset. I can see Smoothie was actually queuing that back line of ranged minions, so trying to allow them to have that shove, to have the push advantage, and it does make it always very difficult if you're trying to trade back then as G2, especially if there's a cannon wave available. Those do actually put out quite a significant amount of damage, especially in the early levels. And TSM is now 6 on both members, so it is possible to look for something if they could actually hit a Varus ultimate on Mickey, but very unlikely with how healthy he is and his positioning under the turret.
Yeah, it can very easily just play very far back. Syndra, of course, pretty decent range herself. Easy to snag these creeps, get CS, even in this less than advantageous situation. Ulti does connect, but it puts him under the tower. Perks incredibly low. Have to respect the hail of arrows, though. It's not going to connect. Perks needs to back off, so it's all eyes on Mickey to CS well here under the tower without losing his life.
Yeah, no panic at all for Perks, though. Again, not even pressing the heal, but... Oh, I like this from Zen. You don't even actually have to shoot on him, but you stop the recall, and Mickey got one of the farm. Is he going to get this one too? Probably. So, they do make them lose a little bit of farm. TSM are going to be able to push this in, and, the farm is very, very close. It's just how much of this can Mickey get? Because there's 7 additional minions. TSM is up 3, so he could be 4 CS ahead if he does farm this perfectly. But TSM will go back to base and, are setting up for a potential kill. If they can get the kind of Varus ultimate back, you can see lethality has been purchased up, 2 more long swords. He still has both of his biscuits available. So Sven has so much sustain now coming back to lane, and likely he'll have to stay out on the map until the game ends. As there's kind of too much farm already in the hands of G2 to reset again.
Yeah, 79 now, 273, doing what they can to hold that wave, deny some of these minions, as the enemy minions, TSM's own minions, kind of betraying them there to kill those melees. Honestly, this game is just a slow grind between both teams. Small decisions about how to control the wave have really mattered a lot for both sides. Mickey now feeling quite confident to step forward, but Sven, both summoners still up and available. It's the same story for Perks on the opposite side.
Yeah, and we even see that a biscuit is available there for Mickey. They're actually trying to hold this cannon and make it push against TSM. TSM have got to step up and continue to actually fight for these minions. I mean, they're down 7, so if you can't find an all-in very, very soon, you are just going to lose off of CS. The ultimate for Perks, very ineffective there, so TSM should be able to step forward. Remember, they do have the Varus ultimate up. Perks has both his summoners. TSM looking to try to set up some sort of freeze, but the 2 minions only. Is that a cannon wave? It is not. They will be able to build up a little bit of a freeze. We'll see how much of this actually pushes. Unfortunately for TSM, it's a cannon wave for them, so it's not even going to freeze. It's actually going to push to G2 still.
Maybe if you can zone them off long enough, you can get the next wave to spawn, get access to a few more creeps, but G2 aren't even that concerned about the all-in. It's going to come down to this ultimate from Sven. If he can connect it, maybe they can find the 2 kills. Has to step forward, the flash out, forced away.
Just 5 minions remaining. They just need to get these last couple. They don't even need to fight.
A lot of damage coming in. Perks has to be careful. The eyes are on the minion. The heals are now coming out. Mickey's just walking into the creep wave.
One more.
Close it out here. That's going to be it. G2 taking the title.
Best in the West bot